Um, this is so you can say like, look, if a tenured professor can get suspended from their job for just liking a post on the X platform, then obviously there is some need for people to be able to post things anonymously. Otherwise, they simply will not be able to speak their mind for
Absolutely.
fear of losing their job.
It's anti-whistleblower, but I just want to say this because I think the community notes is the best thing ever. Even if somebody says something really horrible, I think there should be some buffer zone to at least let them respond as much as they can before they get banned. Because what I see everywhere is the PR firms will say somebody has said something they didn't say. They create this woke mob response. Then the person's taken down, and then most of the time, it's not even true what was claimed.
General?
Yeah. Anyway, we're very much going to err on the side of freedom of speech, which is really just saying, in America, we're going to uphold the Constitution of the United States, and that's what we're going to do, and uphold the laws of the country. And if the laws are changed, we'll then change our behavior to match the laws, and we'll do so. And we also can only match the laws in other countries, because sometimes people will say, well, why don't you demand freedom of speech in some other country in the world? I'm like, well, we don't make the laws in that country, and if we don't adhere to the laws of the country, they will simply cut us off. And so we can't do more than that. So that's we're basically.
What about the other factors, Elon? Before going to General Flynn, you've got obviously laws, but you've got the revenue still running a business, and you've got external pressure. How do you balance all these when fighting for free speech?
Well, we're gonna obviously favor free speech. I believe my action has been very clear in this regard. That if it is a choice between money and freedom, we will pick freedom.
General?
Yeah, hey, thank you, Mario. Thanks for hosting this thing. You're doing a wonderful job. This is really a question for Alex and Elon, a statement, and I wish Andrew and Vivek were still on, but we've talked about these different sort of array of forces between the globalists and the humanists, or whatever the right descriptors are. What I would really like to see, and I would love to hear Vivek's take on it, because I think he's such a wonderful debater. I'd like to know if there's a possibility to set up a intellectual debate between the Alex Jones, Elon Musk, Andrew Tate, Vivek. Probably throw Tucker in there. Maybe there's Joe Rogan, against an intellectual debate against the Klaus Schwabs, the Bill Gateses of the world, and then there's others.
They won't do it because we'll kill them.
I disagree. I mean, this is how we fight today, right? We are fighting in an information domain. Andrew, I wish he was still on, because I'd love to hear his take. Because Andrew starts to imply, and there's a lot of people that imply this. We're going to move to something that we don't want to, a place that we don't want to be, because of this. Frankly, what I see is a globalist takeover, and I'm all with you, Alex, and you and I have talked about this a lot. But what I would really like to see is an intellectual debate and a challenge. I mean, otherwise, because 2024 is going to be for the United States, is going to be a historically consequential moment in history, and I would prefer that we extraordinary session that I've been listening to for the last couple of hours here, and I would really like to hear, at least Alex, because you're on, and I think Elon's still on. What do you think about setting up some type of intellectual debate, or at least array
on X? On X, as well, doing it through Spaces.
Well, on X, on X, or however, I would love to see them come on X to do this, because this would be wonderful.
Alex, would you be open? You and Elon, would you be open for such a debate?
Well, let me just throw this in, because I'm chomping at the bit here, and then Elon will take over. It should be on X. They had the last Republican debate, and it had like 5 million viewers. This is going to have 50 million viewers. We keep acting like dinosaur media even still matters. It should only be held on X. And I would love to see it in this format, or with an added video component to it.
Yeah.
Yes. We challenge their intellectual ideas. So I'm sorry.
It's coming soon.
And that's my point. That's my point. Yeah. We have to challenge their intellectual arguments.
Yeah,
start
and
over.
I agree with
I
the general.
certainly
What's
agree
the
with having a
Mario.
vigorous debate.
hold on, Laura?
I was just going to say that from a feature standpoint, we are working on adding video to spaces. So it'll just be a simple thing where you can turn video on or off, and then whoever's speaking at the video will switch to them, just like if it's I guess like a group call or something like that.
Oh wow.
So that I think will help. It's because it's helpful to see people's body language as they speak. It conveys more information if you can see their face and their body language if they wish
Exactly.
to.
When do you think that will?
I think we're hopeful we hope to release that functionality before the end of the year, but certainly by early next year.
Huge. So that's a big technological announcement.
That's a big one. That's big.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll go to
I don't
CJ.
consider that very big, so that's pretty easy, frankly. But yeah, it'll be cool, I think. Yeah.
Well, it's just fascinating how far Spaces. I remember being on Spaces since the early days, pre-Elon. To see how far it's gone, and to be able to have discussions like this. I don't think the audience understands. There's never been any platform where voices from all sides, voices that were censored before, we're all speaking in one place.
Oh, let's be clear. There's been more innovation since Elon took over than the whole history before.
I'll jump off, but I just want to say thanks to Elon.
Since the rather embarrassing Ron DeSantis situation. Like, I mean, I really have to credit the X team for making massive improvements to Spaces, because it basically did not work at scale until a massive amount of work was put into it. It obviously broke rather embarrassingly in the Ron DeSantis situation. And we didn't realize how fragile and weak it was. And since then, we've put massive work into making Spaces actually robust and be able to have, you can have, at this point, millions of people listening simultaneously.
Let me be clear, Elon.
Quite difficult to do.
Elon, I've never seen an interface that works this good. I mean, you've got a whole, how you're doing this. And General Flynn did bring up the best question in the last 2 hours. So I'm sorry I was like getting so excited and interrupted the General. He's absolutely right. We should be challenging them to debate us. I agree with you, General. That's really a key point. I'm saying they're too cowardly to do it. How do we?
Jack, your mic, you can mute it. I can't mute you, Jack. But yeah, go ahead. Just quickly before you continue, Alex. Elon, I don't know if you remember. I think the first space you came on, and we hit 100K live listeners, and it broke, so it wouldn't show.
Yeah. True.
I don't know how you do it, Alex.
109,000 right now. 109,000.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it, but I know that that we have to do it. We don't have I think we are in a place where we don't have a choice right now. I think the intellectual arguments on their side, I just think that they're going to fall flat, and they don't really have a good argument. And Elon mentioned it early on about, how much energy it takes to lie. I mean, it just does, to lie to so many damn people. But we have to pick this fight. It has to be intellectual. Our intellectual arguments are much, much stronger. And I just think we have to have the right type of people. And, those people have been on here today, and invite these people. I mean, if they don't want to come, we call them out as cowards. I mean,
wait a minute. Being poor and everybody, wait a minute. General Flynn, hold on a minute. I'm going to call you out right now. Eating bugs, drag queen story time, open borders, World War III. You're saying that's not how you're saying their plan isn't wonderful?
Hey, for a guy that has had to eat bugs, Alex, they don't taste very good. So, yeah.
I'll go one step further. I think we should see a 2v2 MMA duel between Elon and Alex versus Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates. I think that'd be the real.
I think Elon should call them out. It'll be bigger than the top UFC fight. If those cowards will show up, my God, it'll be their Waterloo.
Elon, you know how the media works. Do you want to call them out, and then you'll get that snippet all over the media?
Well, I'm certainly happy to have a debate with Klaus Schwab or others. I think you guys maybe been following what's going on in Davos more than I have, and certainly more than the vast majority of people have. I think most people don't even know that there is a conference in Davos, or the World Economic Forum. And I've only seen snippets, but some of the snippets are concerning, and I don't think we should have sort of an unelected quasi-governmental organization deciding our future. Who said who made them the boss? Do people even know that they're doing this? I'm not okay with some organization you know, that I don't vote for controlling, you know, my destiny or that of other people. So, and they, I don't know if they're necessarily fully controlling, but they certainly are influencing things. And you know, and it's, you know, I just don't. I think an unelected world government is not a good idea.
Well,
But
Klaus Schwab,
how much, how much, but
Elon Musk breaks the internet.
Elon, on that point, CJ, I'll go to you right after for a question, then Suleiman. But on that point, how much control, you kind of changed it, whether control or influence? Because on one side, you've got people that say, you know, they control the world. Every decision is kind of influenced, or you know, they
They're
make that
trying
decision
to
behind the
control the
scenes.
world. They're
On
trying.
the other side, there's the people making the argument that they're trying to do the right thing, and things are being taken out of proportion. It's all a conspiracy. Where do you think on that spectrum, in your opinion, we stand?
Well, I mean, the original premise of the World Economic Forum was to have a some kind of forum where there would be interaction between government leaders and commercial leaders, sort of the heads of corporations and governments, and that there would be some forum for them to talk. And like that original premise, I think is not a bad one, because right now you've got the UN, but that's just government to government, and you've got, you know, a bunch of sort of individual situations where you know, commercial leaders will meet with government people one on one, but there's the, you know, the sort of the good part of the World Economic Forum is like it's probably good to have some dialogue between commercial leaders and government leaders internationally. That's I think the positive side, and that's originally how I heard about the World Economic Forum, and I was invited to speak there many years ago, which I was just too busy working, and I was like, well, I can't really go spend 5 days in Switzerland. I have work to do in America, so. And they weirdly wanted me to come talk there, but also pay them $20,000, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So I declined the invitation. Um, and now it does seem that since inception, perhaps this organization has gained a bit too much power, and a bit too much influence. Um, and I think it probably, you know, it should have less power and influence, is my opinion.
Elon, I have a
See, Jeremy,
quick question. You tweeted about the imprisonment of the American Chilean Gonzalo Lira in Kharkiv, Ukraine, yesterday. I'm curious if that imprisonment of an American for speaking his mind on YouTube and X has caused you to consider further support for Ukraine, albeit through Starlink or other means. And also, unrelated to that, can you provide any updates about Starlink for Gaza?
Yeah, I mean, I generally think, look, I understand that if an American citizen is in another country and violates that country's laws, or what those countries' laws, even if their actions would not violate the laws in the United States, that person would then be put in prison. But in the case of Ukraine, the United States is providing a vast amount of aid to Ukraine, and the United States government has an obligation to protect its citizens. And so I think, even if one disagrees with what you know, that I guess YouTuber or journalist, depending on your perspective, what they posted, I feel uncomfortable sending massive aid to Ukraine if they're putting American citizens in jail for doing videos on YouTube. That's not cool. And it's like, and you could say like, okay, well, yeah, but Ukraine has the sovereignty in their country. It's like, yeah, but they don't have a right to our money as well. So it's like, they don't have a right to our money and support, and to imprison and mistreat American citizens.
Well, that's right. And look, I don't
One.
have a dog in the fight. Russia, Ukraine. It's you know, an old ancient fight between the two countries that's been going on for 1,000 years. It's a Slavic civil war, but Ukraine is arresting the Orthodox Church. Ukraine, even the mayor of Kiev has said Zelensky's becoming a dictator. So all I'm saying is this black hole we're feeding hundreds of billions into, we should at least be able to debate it. And if an American journalist is critical, he doesn't deserve to be put in a gulag. That is very dangerous. I agree, Elon.
And as for Starlink for Gaza,
Yeah, and on the Starlink for Gaza front, I mean, obviously that place is currently a war front next level. So in order for Starlink to be used in Gaza, terminals have to be brought in, and they have to be used in a way that where it is where it is there's a high degree of certainty that they are not being used for any violence. So now, there are only really two ways to get into Gaza. One is through Egypt, and the other is through Israel. So, if there was a situation where, say, Egypt was willing to let a Starlink terminal in, and that we could have very high certainty that the terminal would not be used for any kind of military purposes or for violence, then we would support that. Um, Egypt has not stepped forward, to the best of my knowledge, in that regard. And and obviously, we're not going to be played for fools here, where if an organization would perhaps pretend to be using Starlink for peaceful purposes, but then actually use it for violent purposes, we will basically ask for a webcam on that thing 24/7, and if there's the slightest concern about it being used for violent means, it would be turned off. So that's the situation there. I mean, it is a very difficult situation, and I I am sympathetic to Israel, but I also I'm sympathetic to civilians in Gaza. So
But
it's not.
Elon,
I'm
Elon,
pro-human, to be clear. And
100%.
so uh,
Elon,
yeah.
it's just like, here's the deal. I'm not pro-Russian. I'm not pro-Ukraine. I hate the war. I'm pro all of them. I agree. But when you learned that they were using Starlink to rig up robot boats to blow up battleships when Russia said they were going to launch nukes if they did, you didn't sign up Starlink to be a weapon system. It's very fair to say it's my company. It's my.
Well, yes. To be clear, the Crimea and the sort of sea around Crimea was an officially sanctioned area by the United States, and we were not actually the Starlink cells were not turned on in Crimea and the area around Crimea because of U.S. law would prevent us from doing so. Um, the there was a Ukrainian attempted attack on the fleet in Sevastopol, and I got an emergency call saying like, "Hey, we need to turn on the cells um, around Sevastopol," and I'm like, "Well, that's currently a U.S. sanctions zone. We would need permission from the U.S. government to do so." And in fact, I don't, and it would also mean that we are directly complicit in an attack on the Russian fleet directly. It wouldn't be, there's no plausible deniability here. Now, if even though I'm not the biggest fan of President Biden, but if President Biden had called and said, I as the you know as the President of the United States, I'm asking you to turn the cells on, I would have done so. But we did not get any such call. We were only called by the Ukrainian government, and the Ukrainian government is not my boss. So, it's like, and so we can't, it would actually be illegal for, 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 for me to turn on Starlink cells at the request of a foreign government, in a territory sanctioned by the United States. That would actually be
They were
a
setting you
violation
up.
of U.S. law. So it's like,
They were setting you up like Kennedy
it's
by a pig.
yeah, but the media misrepresented it as I turned off the cells. This is not true. They were never on. Um, so, and if I had turned them on, I would have broken U.S. law, um, and I would need an exemption from the State Department and express written permission from the president in order to
And that's
turn them
why
on.
Blinken.
Yeah. So. And I do think we need to be cautious about escalating that war, and we need to find a path to peace, and not sacrifice the flower of Ukrainian and Russian youth, ultimately for nothing, or for a few miles of territory, which is currently what's been going on for the past year.
Do you think with the sentiment?
I've got a question.
Let me.
So
Yeah, let me go to CJ and I'll go to you. Let me go to CJ and I'll go to you right after. CJ.
Mario.
Hey, Mario. Thank you.
Laura,
thank you
yeah,
so
go
much.
ahead, CJ.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mario, for hosting this. Elon, my name is CJ Pearson. I'm a 21-year-old conservative activist, and I currently work at Prager University. And General Flynn made a really important point a little bit earlier about how Twitter has made it super accessible for conversations like this to happen, debates and discourse. And Alex, I think, also made the point earlier that if you look at the debates and the viewership that they've had, you don't really see them reaching all that many young people via traditional cable channels. And one idea that conservative activists like myself have had, different Gen Z conservative influencers have had, is having a Gen Z moderated debate or town hall with the Republican primary candidates and exclusively streaming it here on X. What would you think about something like that? Do you think that would be a way for America's next generation to hear different ideas that they obviously aren't hearing currently on their college campuses?
Well, actually, I don't believe in exclusivity, but I think that that not doing it on the X platform makes no sense. Things should be done on the X platform because it is the most widely accessible platform. It is where you will see it has by far the most reach. The X platform has by far the most reach of anything. You know although like I don't this conversation I don't know might top out at maybe a few 100,000 people live, but it will probably go viral afterwards, and I don't know, probably have 10 million people listen to it, or 20 million.
We've had
It's gonna be pretty nutty.
on the Mutiny space. We had 18 million listeners from memory.
Yeah, no,
when we did the Russian
exactly. So I mean, the way to think of this platform is that there, on an average day, there are over 250 million people on the platform. That's an average day. But some days it's more like 300 or 400 million, and a really crazy day could be like 500 million. So I mean, we're at times we're starting to approach 10% of all humans who are online are on the platform.
Well, Elon,
so it's a very big number, and we're not even, and we're obviously not active in China. It's not, X doesn't work in China. It actually works on international phones, but not domestic phones, and I believe there's also does not work in Russia. So that's it's more. I think we do exceed 10% of all humans at times on this platform. So it seems crazy to ignore this platform because then you're just going to reach far fewer people.
Well, Elon. Bottom line here, the proof is in the pudding. You judge a tree by its fruits. You are the only massive platform that's open and free. People are hungry. It's exploding. This is the example for the world, and we're trying to stop war. We're trying to create a pro-human future. This is what this is really all about. I've been very honored.
Alex, before you're honored, just to give you an idea of how Spaces works, and just in the last couple of hours, that was meant to be an interview with you. Then Elon jumped on, Andrew Tate, his brother. We just had Vivek jump on, and Matt Gaetz just jumped on as well.
Loved it.
And that's one thing with Space, you just never know who could come up. Matt, how are you?
I'm great. I'm enjoying hearing Elon's perspective on adding value to all of our followerships and allowing us to engage.
Your thoughts on Alex Jones being back on the platform?
I think it's great. Alex has been someone who's provoked a lot of critical thinking from policymakers and broad audiences. Of course, there are things that I'm going to say that would offend people, things that Alex would say that would offend people, but I think they'll just have to be offended. I think it enriches the discussion to have Alex back.
Suleiman?
Yeah, I've got a few questions. My first question is, we've seen extremely positive steps in terms of the return of Alex Jones. We've seen the return of Andrew Tate. We've seen the return of President Trump. And so X is definitely moving towards a free speech platform. My question is, when will we be able to get to a situation where it's completely free speech and it's just based solely on following the legal laws of the country? I know it's a process and it takes time, but how far do we envision this happening? How far in the future?
Well, I think we've made dramatic progress over the past year. It's only been a year since the acquisition closed, and it's been quite difficult to. We had to not just keep the wheels on the bus, but upgrade the bus while it's going down the highway.
Well,
something
Elon's
you
cut
just
out.
you got,
Thomas
Alex.
Jefferson said, "We will not be transported to the state of liberty on a feather bed." Go. Is Elon back?
No, I think
I'm
he
sorry.
might have gotten a call. No, you're back, Elon.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, just saying it's been quite difficult to keep the wheels in the bus and upgrade the bus while going barreling down the highway at 100 miles an hour. So that's kind of where thing. But I think we've made tremendous progress in a year, and I think that progress I think is accelerating. So and we keep cleaning up the code base and simplifying it and providing more transparency and providing more clarity and obviously improving freedom of speech and getting closer and closer to the law. And I just want to say, with respect to the law, I am a strong believer in the law. So you'll sometimes read an article where it sounds like I'm some crazy maverick who just likes breaking the law. It's like I am subject to so many laws that I might be hundreds of thousands of laws, maybe millions. When you think about Tesla and SpaceX and Starlink and all the countries that they're in and all the regulatory regimes and all the rules and regulations that we have to adhere to, and the amazing thing is how closely we actually adhere to the law and follow the law, and do what countries believe is right and legal, and once in a while, in a very rare case, I might disagree with the law or regulation, but we will not willfully violate it. So, or but so what I'm trying to say is I'm extremely law abiding. and,
Elon,
and, and,
Elon, I totally agree with you. I don't know how you have the energy. People talk about Trump's energy. Your energy is insane. Where does your energy come from? Going back to being a child, did you kind of, because we know the universe is a loop or a figure eight, it doesn't just go in one direction. Did you have inklings of the big things you were going to do? Or when you were a child, did you have any like foresight about what you were going to be doing?
no, not really. I just I liked technology and like taking devices apart and fixing them and building things and uh, I loved science fiction, fantasy, like Lord of the Rings and Heinlein and Asimov and Star Trek and Star Wars and um, that's and I didn't know what I was going to do. I like programming computers. I found programming computers to be intrinsically interesting. Not because I thought I'd have a job. Actually, I didn't think I'd have a job. I know you could even make money writing computer software, but I was just interested in it in and of itself. So I'd program computers all night by myself, which is not, it doesn't appeal to everyone. That's I think actually quite an unusual thing to want to sort of type strange symbols into a computer all night, essentially by yourself, is a well, not what most people want to do. But I did like doing that, and but also like hanging out with friends and stuff. But no, I didn't think any of this would happen. I would say I have a philosophy of curiosity, which is that trying to understand more about the nature of the universe and our place in it, and that's why I studied physics, not for career reasons, just try to understand how the universe actually works, and what has good predictive value, and physics has got very good predictive value, so that's why I studied it. Um,
Then
and
give us your predictive value, gut level. Elon Musk. I mean, this is like beyond any Hollywood movie where we're at right now. Does humanity survive? Gut level, you've got all these great children. That means you bet on humanity. Do we make it to the next level? And what is the next level?
Elon, you there?
sorry,
While
yeah,
waiting for yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
So you need one needs to think of the future as probabilities and not certainties. So then any given action that we do can affect the probability of a good outcome. Um, there are no certainties that I can determine, or at least I do not have a crystal ball that can
So
predict
we're
this.
changing the future.
Yes, I think by our actions we can individually
would do differently in the future, when going after some conspiracy theory like this? And do you believe that when you go after these conspiracy theories, they can have real world harm, i.e., your fans knocking on the
Yeah,
door
I
of
got it.
Sandy
Let me
Hook
ask you a
parents?
question. Yeah, I get it. If I would comment on what people are saying on the internet when something has 50 million views, I will be blamed for their questioning. So I'm very careful about that now. I didn't realize I had 30 million viewers a day back then because I wasn't looking at the analytics. But yeah, I've learned a lot of lessons that the media and PR firms will misrepresent what I'm saying to then attach themselves to me and play victim. So I'm not talking about it. I won't even say the name of it. What I will say is I'm at X right now, and it's blowing up and taking the planet back for humanity. At Real Alex Jones, people should follow it there and hear what I actually say. And I don't talk about the school shooting. That is not who I am. That's what PR firms.
Yeah, Jason, I should say that the Sandy Hook issue was the first thing I raised with Alex. He did answer it at length at the beginning of this the conversation. So I think you may not have heard
Yeah,
me
no,
answer.
I didn't hear the start of it. I was alerted to this towards the end. I think the
Yeah,
issue, Elon, candidly,
I mean,
is
I'm not saying I'm not commenting whether I agree or disagree with his answer, but it was the very first thing that I asked when I got on this Spaces conversation. Just as it was the first thing that you asked, I think for people that care about whether there's sort of empathy and whether somebody has been cruel or mean or something. That's like the first thing they're going to ask about, and so that was the first thing I asked about, and it it was answered. Once somebody can agree with that answer or
And
not,
no
but
matter how
just so you
many
know,
times
I
I
did
answer,
ask it.
no matter how many times I answer it, it's never good enough because I'm that guy. I'm not what they said. I covered the internet questioning it. I've already said I'm sorry over 500 times, 3 or 4 times today, but it's always the same question. I'm not that guy. I won't even say the name of it.
Yeah, I think people actually will eventually get tired of you answering the question. Um, and
When is that? In 5,000
I
years?
think for someone who started out who's listened to the whole Spaces, they probably are actually tired of you answering the question. To be frank,
I certainly am.
Patrick, are you there? Patrick, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can, yes.
Fantastic. I don't have any questions. I just have a comment to make. The biggest thing is, and I heard Jason's question, and I know Alex answered it at the beginning with Elon, opening it up with him. I had Alex on. I don't know, Alex. It was a couple months ago or something. You were on. We had a great exchange together. The best part about this is the following. I applaud Elon for the fact that just a few months ago he said he's not going to have Elon on, he's not going to have Alex on, and then after seeing what the audience wants, the survey comes to 70-30, and keeping that commitment for allowing Alex to be on. The people who have different strong opinions, who are humanists, who want to defend freedom of speech, defend the same rights that we have, we're finding each other. And I just want everybody to remember this. Go back to September of 2022 when Professor Galloway said Elon is full of it, he's not going to buy it, he's toying with all of you. And then Elon bought the company, whatever the price of the company was. Some said it was 50% more. It was a $20 billion company, $30 billion company. He paid the entire number. He didn't have to do this. If that purchase wasn't to be made, think about where America would be today. I want everybody to think about that part. It's been 13 months since then. It's pissed a lot of people off. The fact that, Elon, I applaud you for standing up to folks who you're saying what you're saying to advertisers, where what do you have to do? Be a slave to them? They have to constantly put that fear in you. We applaud you. You got a lot of people backing you up. Alex, it's great to have you back on. Pushing the envelope, well, you could be wrong. Everybody could be wrong. It's not like all of us are always right. We have the ability to be wrong. And when we are, and people can challenge us and move on, and then they can make a decision. Either, look, I don't like Alex, or I like Alex. Great, no problem. That's the freedom of, you have to pick and choose to like somebody's views or not. But the biggest factor here is somebody had the courage to use their resources to buy a platform like this, to give everybody else the freedom to debate, to argue, to give their thoughts, to give their opinions. And then at the same time, if you're wrong, you admit to it. If you're not, you stick to your guns. But best part on what's going on to the world right now is we are finding each other. The fighters are finding each other. And that has got to be a very scary thing to people who oppose the concept of freedom of speech. So I have no question for Alex. I have no questions for Elon. I just wanted to jump in and applaud everybody, even those who debate, even those who agree, even those who disagree. Future looks bright. The right people are finding each other. And I applaud all of you. That's all I wanted to say. So,
Patrick, beautifully said, brother.
my
And
man.
remember, Patrick,
Zev,
I apologize for Sandy Hook on your show
I
5 years
remember
ago.
that.
Remember that,
I
Patrick?
remember that. I remember that.
Patrick, question for you then. You've been here a few times and you've uploaded Spaces and X. When is the show? I think you've got 2 million subscribers on YouTube. When will the X version launch?
When will the X version launch? I've never had a conversation with Elon. We've never had a sit down. I totally support what they're doing right now. What we're doing is we're starting to upload all our episodes on X, as well as we're putting on other platforms. But the direction this is going, with a few asks that was made, where we can now watch the video on 2.0 speed. I'm a 2.0 speed guy. I
X
like to
marks the
speed it up.
spot. X marks the spot. X is it.
No, I totally see it going that direction, but no, I mean, look, it's look what's going on right now. Look at this live. How many people are on right now? I don't know what the number is. 100 and what's
118,000. 119.
108 119,000 on a Sunday, where I'm sitting in my backyard right now watching my 4 kids play soccer, and we're able to jump on and have a conversation like this. This is insane. The power of what's going on with this.
This is the
Uh, I
future.
I think this is just the beginning, and the right guy is driving it. So future looks bright.
Zev?
Yeah, this question is for Mr. Musk and Mr. Gates. So during the 2020 election cycle, we saw a lot of people be either deplatformed or noted for making claims of election fraud. Now, at the time that those claims were made, there was no way of knowing they were true or untrue because they hadn't been litigated yet. So going forward, as we're coming into a new election cycle, Mr. Gates, is there anything being done legislatively or in the House to ensure that that doesn't happen again? And the same question would go to Mr. Musk. Thank you.
The strongest, I think, influence on that censorship regime right now is the Missouri v. Biden, litigation and the injunctions there that are being resolved, and some sort of the public humiliation we've put some of the senior DOJ and FBI leadership through as they've had to fess up to the nature of some of these emails and contacts. We've brought the journalists that have been covering this, Schellenberger and Tate forward to kind of repeatedly try to set that deterrent. But I think that it's not just about elections. I mean, it can be about any number of the things that the federal government wants to control the four corners of discourse on. And these are the people who would have would have banned Galileo. And yet, when people want to share evidence or experiences or concerns, you can't have the Department of Homeland Security and CISA working alongside NSA and FBI on those projects. Otherwise, people start to fear that if they're not proactively censoring, that they run afoul of some sort of legal regime. And it's also sickening if you just track the extent to which a lot of these senior lawyers oscillate back and forth between big tech and the senior positions in our government that decide these things. So Republicans in the House should be taking a stronger stand. In my view, we should be putting riders on the funding for CISA and FBI so that anything that would occur there would be so clearly outside the law that it would draw sanction. But instead, we continue to govern by these continuing resolutions that don't gate resources away from that censorship.
Well, actually, Congressman Gates, the fact you mentioned that about the FBI and CISA, this has been the huge thing that's come out of the Twitter files, and it was a two-way street. So while you're tracking what the government was doing in 2020 vis-a-vis censorship, really leaning on regards to the Hunter Drive laptop, which we released in October of 2020, this is actually a huge question for X going forward into 2024, because Elon, you've said that you want to be in working in conjunction within the confines of the law. But the question is, if that law is being enforced by the law enforcement agency of the FBI or the DHS, and then they come to X and say, these posts need to be censored, this information needs to be censored because we've determined whatever it is, how does X make that determination?
Well, if we believe that something is not in accordance with the law, then we will ask a judge or jury to make a decision.
I've
So
actually been
yeah,
here
we,
if
we, we
it's
don't we don't have much of it. That is the best we can do. Um, so and I just want to.
You just cut out again, Elon. You got a call.
Oh, sorry.
You're back. You're back.
Yeah, I just want to be clear that the X platform will aspire to be as neutral as possible. Um, and that's and to be as open and transparent as possible. I think we will be. I think we will achieve maximum transparency. I think we'll be fully transparent. Hopefully by early next year. But I'm confident we'll be fully transparent by the time there's an election next year. So like basically people will just see anything that is happening on the system, and nothing will be hidden. That is the goal.
Well, if those agencies, though, the FBI, the DHS, et cetera, if they reach out to X, where I believe they called it defensive briefings in 2020 regarding which eventually culminated in the censorship of Hunter Biden, if they started reaching out again, would that be something that you or the team, and no, I can understand if you don't want to answer now, but you would consider making public?
We will be as transparent as possible with that. You know, the, yeah, and frankly, if I think a government agency is breaking the law in their demands on the platform, I would I would be prepared to go to prison personally if I think they are the ones breaking the law.
Redhead, and then Alex and Benny.
right, great. Thank you. Um, Hi, everyone. I'm Josie. I'm the Redheaded Libertarian on X, and I'm a revolutionary historian, and I do outside media work at timcast.com. I just wanted to jump back to X as a free speech platform. Elon had mentioned constitutional speech will be protected, and there's some confusion as to what that constitutes. Constitutional speech. So I just wanted to help kind of clarify that for some listeners who might have questions. So the speech and expression which are not given protections in America under the First Amendment include incitement, defamation, fraud, obscenity, CP, fighting words, and true threats. The government does have power to make blanket regulations on speech, including time, place, manner. That's usually done in the form of permits. And when it comes to slander and libel, those are defamation adjacent and need to be proven, as there's no such thing as a false opinion under the First Amendment, only a false fact. But many times, by the time the due process is through, the damage has already been done. I mean, we saw that with the Me Too movement, particularly with Justice Kavanaugh. We saw that with Alex Jones, the Tates, Nick Sandmann, Kyle Rittenhouse, where the kind of propaganda machine took over, and um, and truth was lost for a period of time. So when it comes to obscenity, that's the hardest constitutional violation to prove when it comes to the expression of that, because it has kind of a standard of I know it when I see it. So there is something called the Miller test to determine whether something is deemed legally extreme. So I hope that
Yeah,
helps.
so we're not doing drag queen story time here. We're not calling for violence. We're not hacking websites. We're promoting freedom. That's why we're censored.
Yes,
Alex?
exactly.
Yes.
Hi, I
So
just
Alex,
wanted
hey,
to.
Alex.
No, you're good. I just wanted to thank Elon for his commitment to free speech, reinstating Alex, of course. Welcome back. And I just wanted to, I think it was Mark Dice earlier who raised this with Owen Schroyer's ban. I just wanted to note that it didn't have anything to do with the InfoWars thing. It actually had to do with the fact that he called for people to come to a rally, and Media Matters actually did a hit piece, and they said that it would violate Texas's social distancing order. So that's how they actually got him banned, was through a Media Matters hit piece. So in response, Twitter 1.0 banned him. So I just wanted to get any thoughts on that.
Oh, it's perfect timing. Elon, maybe you can also give us an update, if there is any, on Media Matters and why you decided to sue them.
Yeah, Media Matters is an evil propaganda machine. So I just generally am against evil propaganda machines, and So we are suing them in every country that they operate, and we will pursue not just the organization but anyone funding that organization. I want to be clear about that. Anyone funding that organization we will pursue them. Media Matters is an evil propaganda machine. They can go to hell. I hope they do. So
Based.
yeah.
Benny?
So
Sorry.
I need to just step off the call at this point. So I just have some family obligations. But I think it's been certainly a very interesting conversation. I suspect this will go viral. Probably snippets of it will go viral in a way that don't entirely represent the situation. I hope that anyone who reads about it or hears about it actually just it takes the time to listen to the entire Spaces conversation. It will be saved. I suspect there will be probably many millions, if not tens of millions, of people listening to the conversation. I just hope that they listen to the whole conversation and not just small parts of it.
Elon, I totally agree. And let me just say, thanks for reinstating me. I'm going to do the best job to not be misrepresented. And I thank you. And I thank you for the freedom you're promoting, the pro-human future. We're on Team Humanity. Thanks for spending 2 hours with us plus. And this has just been surreal. It's really been amazing. So X is where it's at. Thank you, Elon Musk.
You're welcome. Like I said, I'm very much in favor of supporting the in the United States, the laws and Constitution of the United States. And I think if we start eroding, if we erode freedom of speech, we erode the foundation of democracy. The, it, the bedrock of democracy is freedom of speech, and we must do everything we possibly can to protect that. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Elon, for all the time. And I want to thank this whole crew. I'm going to be posting a lot of stuff at Real Alex Jones on Twitter. People should follow us there. And this has been the most epic interview ever. I love this new Spaces system. And it's just good to have my identity back so I actually say what I actually said versus misrepresenting. I'm not perfect, but God bless you all. And I really appreciate Elon Musk and everybody else that is promoting free speech. That's because we don't have free speech, we have nothing.
Appreciate it, Alex. And Benny, maybe you can give us a final word. I know you've been waiting for a while. Good to have you, man.
Oh, hey. Hi, how are you doing, guys? Big kudos, Elon. Thank you so very much for creating this space and obviously for believing in principle more than money. Jack Swagger jacked my question. I was going to ask about 2024 election integrity and government interference. So instead, I'll ask about Bob Iger. When you told Bob Iger to go fuck himself a couple times,
Are you asking Elon?
Yes.
Yeah, he's jumped off. So I was going to give you the final word to wrap up the space. Yeah, he's jumped off. And Alex is jumping off as well.
Well, I mean, that was the moment globalists got their back broken when we stopped giving into their intimidation and their blackmail. Go fuck yourself, New World Order.
I was going to ask. I didn't know it was
not yet. You just missed it. But to give you an idea of the space that we started off with Alex, I messaged Elon to jump on. He did. Then we had the Tate brothers come on.
Matt
Gates, obviously.
That's
Vivek,
everybody. This is the most incredible thing ever.
I was trying to be patient, and I was trying to be patient.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, man. That was good to have you.
Just like Patrick Bet David, I'm here with my kids. So I'm like Vivek. I'm not going to piss live on this, but you might hear a crying baby.
All right, good to have you, man. Good to have everyone. Alex, your final thoughts on the space, man? It was pretty epic comeback to Eggs.
I don't think it's pretty epic. It's way better than Alex Jones. It's humanity deciding. For our free speech is paramount. Those that try to not have us free speech are our enemies. We need to actually hear what we actually say instead of what we're told somebody said. Elon Musk is doing a superlative job. To everybody that helped get me back on X and this whole thing, this is historic. But the deep state, the empire is going to strike back. So I'll see everybody at infowars.com/show, band.video. We'll see you at Real Alex Jones on X. We're going to hear what I actually say versus what they claim I say, because you're adults. You deserve to actually hear what people are saying versus what they're told you're saying. So that's what why this is so incredibly epic. So God bless you all and good luck. I'll see you at Real Alex Jones on Twitter. Please follow us there.
Thanks a lot, everyone. We appreciate it.